Hey, spooky people, it's your best friend Kenny here with another spooky, disturbing story. If you like spooky, disturbing stories, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Spooky Lawyer. Like this video and share it too. Send it to your friends. Send it to that cousin that you haven't talked to in a while. Today we are covering a tragic and shocking case from Joliet, Illinois. That is the murders of Terrance Rankins and Eric Glover. Now, the press had dubbed this the nightmare on Hickory Street. And frankly, I couldn't agree more. This was one of the most disturbing stories I have ever read. In fact, to call this a nightmare is not exaggerating. Terrance Rankins and Eric Glover were two young men who were 22 years old who lived in Joliet, Illinois. On January 9th, 2013, they were brutally murdered in an absolutely disturbing crime. On that January evening, Adam Landerman, who was 19 years old, Bethany McKee, who was 18 years old, Josh Miner, who was 24 years old, and Alisa Massaro, who was 18 years old, lured Eric Glover and Terrance Rankins into Massaro's house on North Hickory Street in Joliet, Illinois. Their plan was to rob the two 22-year-old men because they had run out of liquor and drugs. They would end up stealing about $120 from those two men, and then they would murder those two men. The next day, January 10th, 2013, police officers were called to the house after receiving a tip that there might be a dead body or two at the house. What they discovered was horrifying. The lifeless bodies of Terrance and Eric were found strangled with Ziploc baggies over their heads. Adam Landerman, the son of a Joliet police sergeant, told the detectives during his interrogation that he and Joshua Miner planned to rob the two men after the group had finished off a bottle of tequila. When the bottle was emptied, Joshua Miner began strangling Rankins, and Adam Landerman began strangling Glover. As if the senseless murder weren't enough, the four discussed doing disturbing things to the bodies. Bethany McKee would tell the Joliet police that Joshua Miner wanted to remove one of their faces and take a picture with it on his face, like Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She had told the police that Joshua Miner wanted to scalp one of the victims' heads and wear it like a hat. As I said earlier, plastic bags were tied around the dead men's heads, and one of the men had been bound and the other looked as if his hands had been tied up. Bethany McKee also said that Joshua wanted to put the bodies together side by side, which they did, and put something over the bodies, and that Joshua Miner wanted to have sex with Alisa Massaro on top of the bodies. Joshua Miner remembered that when he was a teenager, his girlfriend had told him that she wanted to have sex on top of a dead guy. That's where he got the idea to ask his girlfriend, Alisa Massaro, to have sex with him on top of the corpses. When Alisa Massaro was questioned by police, she would tell the police that she didn't want to have sex with Josh on top of the bodies, but would later acknowledge that she and Josh did in fact have sexual intercourse on top of the bodies. All of this occurred while Bethany McKee's 1-year-old was in the house. McKee would take her 1-year-old away. Massaro, Miner, and Landerman would continue to drink, do drugs, and play video games. When the police arrived, Adam Landerman hid because he had been drinking and was underage at the time. Adam Landerman would later blame Joshua Minor for all the events. Bethany McKee would also say that Adam was a follower and Joshua was the leader. Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow said that these killers ran out of time to dismember the corpses of the two men, and they might have gone through with dismembering it. They were certainly calculating what to do, but they didn't have the experience, Glasgow said. They set forth with getting various materials. A saw, a blowtorch, garbage bags, bleach, and had not the police arrived, they may have very well dismembered the bodies. All four individuals were tried separately. Alisa Massaro would agree to a plea deal to testify against Landerman, Minor, and McKee in exchange for a lighter sentence. Each suspect faced charges related to the murder and the robbery. Joshua Minor and Adam Landerman were both convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Bethany McKee was also found guilty and sentenced to life. Alisa Massaro pled guilty to lesser charges as part of her plea deal, received 10 years in prison, and ended up actually only serving less than 4 years in prison. This case shocked the entire area. The senseless violence, the depraved actions, the callousness in which it occurred. My heart goes out to the victims' families having to hear what happened to their loved ones. What occurred in this case is something that no person should ever have to hear happening to their loved one. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like, and share it, and hit the bell to receive notifications when I upload. Please follow me on Twitter and TikTok. My handle is AKBrews. If there is a spooky, disturbing story that you would like me to investigate, send me an email. My email address is thespooklawyer@gmail.com. Thank you for watching my video, and as always, stay spooky.